Hello, this is Michael Owens with Here Come the Irish, and you're watching the Two Irish Brothers Show. Go Irish.
What's going on, everyone? I am Sean.
I am Irish Benjamin.
And together we make up the Two Irish Brothers. Now, this week is all about redemption for Notre Dame. It's, like we said to end the last video, it's about going forward, not looking back. Everything else is in your rear view mirror. It's all about going forward and coming back from an unfortunate day in South Bend last week. But before we go any further, we want to pay homage to our upcoming opponent with this from our sponsor.
I am 1,000% positive that this ritual helps Hokie basketball win. I have to crack open a Coke and have a sip before tip-off. Then I can never set the Coke can down at any point during the game. When it's time to get a new Coke, I have to have a sip of the new Coke before finishing off the final sip of the old Coke. I then take the empty, and I start building out the VT logo for Virginia Tech. If I could convince the entire Hokie Nation to pick up this ritual, we would go undefeated in every single sport. Maybe not field hockey.
There's not field hockey. Oh, man.
If you have a ritual with Coca-Cola cans, go for it.
Yep.
But anyway, as you guys saw from that word from our sponsor, the Irish have the Virginia Tech Hokies this week at Lane Stadium, the first time that we have played there since 2018, the playoff run. Yep. And, you know, so far this season, the Hokies are 3-1. They've had a few nice wins, one over North Carolina when they were ranked number 10. Took care of business against, I believe, who else they beat? West Virginia?
No, they did not beat West Virginia.
Okay, you know what? That's right. They lost to West Virginia. Middle Tennessee State, and then Richmond.
They beat Middle Tennessee State, North Carolina, Richmond, and I do believe that is it for them.
Yeah, they are 3-1. I just trying to remember
their bye week. They have a bye week. The next opponent on Notre Dame's schedule that has a bye week against the Fighting Irish. But
typical trend.
It was a very close game for them against West Virginia. It was a game where it could have gone either way. So, you know, and that's a rivalry and a trophy up for grabs. Black Diamond Trophy. A lot of people might not know that, but they battle for the Black Diamond Trophy when West Virginia and Virginia Tech meet. So that was a huge rivalry game, and they, like I said, could have gone either way. So, you know, I'm not going to hold it completely against Virginia Tech, but yeah.
I'll say this on a very, very quick note. If you listen to our colleague, Golden Blue Dude, very good chance that West Virginia could be in the ACC in the near future, and we could see that rivalry on an annual basis once again. So we'll see. But anyway, Ben, so we're coming off the very tough loss to Cincinnati. Pretty big setback for us. A game that something that really none of us saw coming. You know, we expected to win that. We expect to win it all the time, but that was very shocking. But like I said, we got a rebound from it. Yeah, the Hokies give us a chance to do that, but this game is not going to be tough either because it is in Lane Stadium. Lane Stadium is hell to play in. It's a very loud stadium. And so it's not going to be, even though we have a chance to rebound, it's not going to be an easy task in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Virginia Tech, you know, when you're playing them at home, no matter your record, no matter their record, it's going to be hard. I mean, it's, you know, their stadium is one of the loudest in the country, and, you know, they have one of the greatest and most well-known traditions of Enter Sandman when they come in. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's going to be electric for them in that stadium. So Sean, it is up to Notre Dame to take the crowd out of the game.
Yes.
You cannot have their 12th man going.
Oh, no.
And if Notre Dame wants to get back on the winning side of things and get back on track, this is a must-win game. The rest of these games are must-win games. Okay, but you take it a game at a time. So now it is Virginia Tech.
Oh yes, and Virginia Tech, like I said, they're going to be no easy test whatsoever. They do have some very talented players on their roster. I mean, and it all starts with the quarterback, Braxton Burmeister. Burmeister, yep. He's had a pretty good season looking at the numbers so far. 61% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, one interception. He's only been sacked 10 times compared to our quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who knows how to get the ball downfield, find guys when given the appropriate protection. But you also have other playmakers, and you look at their running game. You got the 3 top backs in Braxton Burmeister is one of them because he has 140 yards on 44 attempts for 1 touchdown. But the other 2, the actual running backs, Jalen Holston, 159 yards, 1 touchdown. But then Raheem Blackshear, 144 yards for 3 touchdowns. And both these guys over Blackshear only 3.8 yards a carry. Holston 4.3 yards a carry. So they're not bad. But, of course, you go to the receiving game, and Trey Turner's your big stud there. 16 catches, 250 yards, 1 touchdown. Tavian Robinson, 14 catches for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. So really, only 5 touchdowns thrown by Burmeister. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to really go off of those stats, but still, these are 2 talented receivers and 2 talented running backs that I was just talking about. So there's firepower on this team.
Yes, totally. They're Virginia Tech has a solid team. Now it goes back to what I said in the last video, though. Okay, there is nobody on Notre Dame's schedule. Okay. Nobody on Notre Dame's schedule that should beat Notre Dame.
Yeah. From top to bottom, when you look at it, we are the better team.
So the Hokie quarterback has 700 plus yards. Okay. Jack Cohn has 1,100 yards. So he has 400, give or take, more passing yards than Virginia Tech's quarterback. And Cohn has been sacked how many times? And he's thrown how many interceptions? So I will let that speak for itself.
Now you got me curious about all this to look at the numbers for sure. Yeah, you're right. Jack Cohn, 1,100 yards on the dot.
So
9 touchdowns and 3 picks.
So, I mean, top to bottom, Notre Dame is better than Virginia Tech. Top to bottom.
And for the record, Jack Cohn has been sacked 20 times in 5 games.
Twice as many sacks as Virginia Tech's quarterback. So this we're sounding like broken records here, Sean.
I know. It's hard not to, though. Damn it.
It is okay. It is offensive line production. Okay, so the offensive line has to protect the quarterback. I don't care if it is Buckner. I don't care if it's Drew Pine. I don't care if it's Cohn. Okay, you have to protect the quarterback. Period. End of story.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing. In addition to protecting the quarterback, speaking of which, and we said this in the last video in the recap of Cincinnati, it has to be. I love Jack Cohn, but it has to be Drew Pine going forward.
No, it has to be. Yes. No. I mean, I will be extremely disappointed if come what is it? Tuesday? Is it Tuesday that Brian Kelly does his conference?
His press conference for the depth chart. I think so. Yes.
So if he comes out Tuesday and he goes, moving forward, Jack Cohn is still our starter, I will be very disappointed. Okay. And it will, and here's the other thing it will do. And I could care less about other people's opinion. But it will give the haters something else to gripe about. It will be, see, Brian Kelly needs to be fired. He needs to go. We are in year 12. He cannot figure this out. He is clearly a good coach, but not a great coach like Saban and Urban Meyer. And he has to go.
Can I say one thing about Brian Kelly real quick? And listen, we've heard this a lot, especially after the Cincinnati game. And yes, it's no secret. Ben and I are filming this video on Sunday night. We have to with our work schedules.
Yes.
So as we always say, if something comes up, we'll have to cover it later.
Yeah. I mean, like Jack Cohn breaks his leg in practice, then
I can cover that and make a quick video about it. But
one of us will put a video up. Yes.
Yes. But anyway, so all this talk about Brian Kelly, even when we're winning, people are always calling for his head to be fired. And what you just said, the typical, it's been 12 years. He hasn't won a national championship. Well, let me just say this for starters. Guys like Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno, it took them forever to win a national championship at their respected schools. Took Bobby Bowden 30 years. Took Joe Paterno 18 years. And yes, someone told me, well, look at all the coaches who have done it sooner. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
So what? That doesn't matter. Some coaches, it takes them longer to do it than others. And you got legends like Frank Beamer, Hayden Fry, Bo Schembechler. They won 0 national championships. So are they bad coaches? But anyway, the main point I wanted to get at with Brian Kelly, and I'm just going to say this and I'll leave it alone. I honestly don't think that all the people who hate Brian Kelly and want him fired, I don't think they hate him because of his coaching or his results on the field. And that's all I'll say about that.
It's the end thing.
I'm not even talking about the end thing. I'm talking about something else.
It is the classic, to me at least. It is the classic, well, other people doing it, so I'm going to do it too. And it's like with NFL fans. Okay, everybody hates the Cowboys. Why? I mean, the Cowboys haven't done anything since the mid-'90s. Like, there is literally nothing to be jealous of with the Cowboys. I mean, it has been utter despair and tragedy for the Cowboys for the last, couple decades. Okay, I get why people hate, the Patriots in Alabama. Because when you're constantly winning, okay, A, people get sick of you, and B, people want to win.
Mm-hmm.
They want that. People want something without the work.
Yeah.
Put in the work. But I digress.
Well, all I know is all I'm saying is they don't hate Brian Kelly because of that, because it's the in thing. There's other things, but I'm not going to say it on camera. So yeah, back to the game after saying that.
So it has to be that you make the best decision and you make the wisest decision. Wisest is stressed here. Wisest decision moving forward. The wise decision is to put Drew Pine in at quarterback starting this game. Okay. And then Cohn's the backup. And then Buckner is behind Cohn. And it's like, well, why would you put Buckner behind Cohn? I can hear people saying that in our comment section. Okay. Because Buckner is still very young. He has very raw talent. Okay.
It needs to be developed.
And not to sound like an asshole. Okay. But I would rather lose Cohn to injury than I would Buckner.
It sounds bad, but I know what you're saying.
We have to put Buckner in because Pine has to sit out 2 plays because he had the wind knocked out of him, like we saw with Michael Mayer earlier in the season. Thank God it was just the wind knocked out. But then Buckner rolls out, gets blindsided because, our offensive line is just the most greatest offensive line since the birth of football, and breaks his leg or ruptures an Achilles or tears an ACL.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I want the sacrificial lamb to be Jack Cohn and all that, or the crash test dummy to be Jack Cohn, although he probably already is the crash test dummy because he's been sacked 20 freaking times. But
he's not the future of this program.
If we get in garbage time, then yes, put Buckner in. Please put Buckner in. Let him have. That has been one of my biggest gripes over the years with Brian Kelly is it's like the biggest thing about struggling in games is you get none of the guys that should be getting experience. How is it that Alabama has next man up? How is it that Georgia has next man up?
Because they play.
Because they beat the crap out of their opponents. They give their offensive starters and their defensive starters rest, and they give the younger guys experience.
Yes, exactly. And
so anyway,
but with this Virginia Tech team, I mean, they're a talented team. You know, they had the they had the one stumble to West Virginia, but even still, that was a pretty close game. They had a chance to win it.
Yep.
But so far, even on the defensive side of things, they've looked pretty good.
Yes, they've looked good, and you make a good point. They look good, but not great. Okay, not great. So, what needs to be the focus here? It's going to sound like broken records. Okay. Defense clamps down. Limit the turnovers like we saw in Cincinnati. Okay. No dumb mistakes, especially with that crowd. Okay. You are not at home for this game. This is your first big test on the road.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
People can say that, Florida State was a test. Okay. Florida State hasn't won a game yet. Okay.
I think they won one, didn't they?
Did they win yet this past weekend?
I thought they won one game. I could be wrong, but
they haven't won any games up until this weekend. If they won this weekend, then they have one win. Let me look that up real quick while I'm talking. So, but Virginia Tech is 3-1. So, I mean, they have won games. You're coming into their stadium. Okay. You are down on your luck by losing to, yes, Florida State did win, digressing for a second. They won 33-30 against Syracuse yesterday. Anyway.
All right.
So you're coming into a hostile environment. It's going to be more hostile for three reasons. A, it's Notre Dame, and they want revenge for 2018. Okay, because we pushed them around in 2018. We did. We went.
Yeah, at least in that second half, anyway.
I mean, we went into Lane Stadium and we pushed them around. Okay, and we went home. Thank you very much. We're coming off of a loss. That crowd is going to be all over Notre Dame about that. And what time is this game?
Prime time.
Prime time.
Prime time, baby.
Night game in Lane Stadium. It gets spooky in Lane Stadium at night. And people can be like, well, it's Virginia Tech. They haven't done much. They've never won a title. Fun fact, speaking of titles, fun fact, Virginia Tech is one of only two schools now that have not won a national title at all for any of their sports.
That's crazy when you think about it.
Them and K-State. Fun fact. So, but, okay, if you take your opponent lightly, you see what happens, especially this year, okay? Florida lost to Kentucky yesterday. Stanford beat Oregon. Freaking, who's the other one I'm thinking of that lost yesterday that was a big one? There was three. It was Florida, Oregon, and somebody else. And I'm blanking on that somebody else. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm blanking too.
Digressing. So,
us.
Well, yeah, us. I mean, you can give that. So yeah, I mean, a bunch of more top 25 teams lost. So you take Virginia Tech lightly, and there you go. And guess what? Offensive line doesn't get it going again. Going to be a long night, not day, night, in Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia.
Yes. And this is the game. I mean, seriously, at this point in the season, almost at the halfway point. Well, no, actually, no, this game is the halfway point.
Yes.
Yeah, 4-1. Yeah, 4 + 1 is 5. This is 6. Yeah, halfway point of the stadium or the season, you have to have this crap figured out. All the problems with the line, the play calling by Tommy Rees, everything. You have to have this figured out. You should not be still wondering if this is going to click at this point in the season.
Yeah. And here's what I don't want to see, okay, and this is something that I don't know a lot of people will think about or even talk about on their podcasts. I don't want to see what I saw. What was it, Thursday night or Friday night? Thursday night or Friday night. I don't remember which night. Okay. When Miami was playing Virginia. I don't want to see what I saw on Twitter with Miami, which is former players saying fire the coach.
Yeah.
Because this shit is ridiculous. Because at this point in the season, this shouldn't be a thing. And I saw that on Twitter with Miami.
Well, it is Miami, so it's not shocking, but still.
Those guys have won titles. Those guys have, they know what it takes.
Yeah, you're right. You don't want to see.
And I'm not saying they would do it. I'm not saying they would, but I don't want to see someone like Irv Smith going, Brian Kelly isn't the answer. I'm sorry, Irish fans. He's not the answer. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
And it's crazy too, because if something like that happens, first off, the quote realist fans, as we talk about all the time, they don't need any former players needing they don't need former players to get motivated to do that.
Right. And validating their points.
Later on after the Cincinnati game, I saw people bad mouthing former players who were defending the team and telling all the fans chill out. They were dumping on Robbie Toma, for example.
That's just ridiculous. And that, like I said, that's absolutely ridiculous. But that's neither here nor there for this.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so you got to fix these mistakes. Okay. And guess what? It is once again the situation that we talked about in the last video. 2 weeks for Virginia Tech. Okay. And now you're not on your home turf. You don't have your crowd behind you in this game. This is hostile environment across the country, okay, in your first true road game other than Florida State.
Virginia Tech's not a playoff team, but their fans are not going to allow their stadium to get taken over. No. They don't sell their tickets. They're not going to be – they support their team. They're not about money.
And so the offense has to get it going. The offense is the Achilles heel currently of the team. We've had decent special teams, if not great special teams play from our kicker, our punter, and our returners. Okay, when they've actually been allowed to return the ball. Yes, Tyree had a fumble yesterday in Cincinnati. Neither here nor there. The defense has stepped up, fixed their problems, done what they need to do, clamped down, made the necessary adjustments. I think it was a little bit of growing pains with Freeman.
Yeah.
New defensive system, new playbook, new schemes. I get it. It takes a couple games to get everything under control. And game speed's different than practice. You can look great in practice. That's why I hate off-season shit, because it's like, oh my gosh, Braden Lindsey just caught a 70-yard bomb in practice. Well, I hope he catches a 70-yard bomb when literally nobody's covering him. But game speed's different.
Yes.
So make the adjustments.
And you have to. You have to. And this is a team. This is a Hokie team that can beat top teams. They did it to North Carolina when North Carolina was number 10. So this is the team that will take advantage of your mistakes if you make them. So don't put yourself in a situation where you're giving the game away like you did against Cincinnati. So play crisp, play smart, and just don't screw up. Really, that's what it all comes down to, is fundamentals. You execute the fundamentals, you're going to be fine. But, the only thing that's been consistent, like I said in the last video, has been the inconsistencies. That's been the most consistent thing on as far as the offense goes, I should say, to clear that up.
And that's frustrating as a fan. It is very frustrating when there is no actual growth.
Yeah.
Yes. We have had no growth on the offense. None.
And the run game has been virtually non-existent.
You live and die with your line. I'm sorry. It is not like you could have a mediocre line and great running backs and a great quarterback and it makes up for it. It is, you have a great quarterback, you have a great running back, and your offensive line sucks. you're not doing anything. I'm sorry. And that goes from Pee Wee football all the way up to pro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And that's what sucks the most is, the offensive line not being able to open up the holes. We have two great running backs in Tyree and Williams, and they're being wasted.
Yeah.
As far as running goes. I mean, catching passes out of the backfield, they've been great.
Yeah.
But running game itself.
You would not know it based on their numbers right now.
Yeah, they are great running backs.
I have heard people that don't even like Notre Dame say that.
That says it all right there.
I have seen like Oklahoma podcasters and all that say, one of the greatest running back duos currently is at Notre Dame. And then they say it, and I hate hearing it, but the offensive line doesn't show that.
I'm just glad that somebody else is noticing like that.
So guess what?
That same thing that we are.
Has to step up here. This is a Jeff Quinn problem. Okay, you are in charge of this. This is your only thing that you are in charge of. Okay, you are not the head coach. Okay, Brian Kelly's got a whole bunch of responsibilities. Your one responsibility, your only job is make the offensive line better. Teach them. Get them better.
And the bottom line is this. I'm not one who likes to call for heads or anything. I don't do that. But, hey, if you can't do your job, you got to go.
Yep, we can replace you.
Like you said, Ben, in the last video, if it was us and our jobs and we weren't performing, we'd be shown the door at the drop of a dime, man.
Or at least we would be on a chopping block.
Yes, exactly.
At the very least, I'd be pulled into some meeting and being like, okay, disciplinary action's happening because you're not doing what we're wanting you to do. It's not up to par here.
Yeah.
It's subpar. And that's unacceptable.
And it's no different with college coaches.
And guess what? We're Notre Dame. We're not freaking no-name state. We're not Bowling Green. We're not some little podunk school that barely has a football program like UConn. Okay, we're Notre Dame, for crying out loud. But guess what? We're at the bottom of the list. We're like in the bottom 10 of the list for offensive production from the offensive line for protecting a quarterback. That is absolutely 110% unacceptable.
20 sacks through 5 games. That's all that needs to be said. I said that earlier in the show. I'm going to say it again. 20 sacks in 5 games, unacceptable.
So you want to beat Virginia Tech, offensive line.
That's where it starts. And we've gotten to that point in the video, Ben, where it's time for the doozy, especially after this last game. Score predictions.
Okay.
Score predictions. So I'm thinking about this. And man, that Cincinnati game gave me a lot to think about, as I'm sure it did you. You're coming into Blacksburg, a ruckus environment, very loud. You're coming off a bad loss to a team that you should have beaten, a team that you literally gave the game away to. So I think there's still going to be some shakiness, just being honest here. I think we are going to see some mistakes by this team, but I think they do clean it up. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I mean, they got to show me something before I start projecting blowouts. So for this game, I'm going to say Notre Dame wins it 30-21.
Interesting. I like
just
it.
based on what's been going on, the consistencies and the inconsistencies.
So my prediction's just a tidbit different than yours. I say Notre Dame 24, Virginia Tech 21.
You're projecting a heart attack for all of us yet again, but hey, we're all expecting that after this week.
And it's like you said, I cannot predict a blowout at this point.
Yes.
Okay. And it's in Lane Stadium. We have offensive line issues. Notre Dame's the better team, talent-wise, top to bottom.
Yeah.
But the rest.
Yes.
So I say 24-21. Now, I hope I would love to see Notre Dame go into Lane Stadium, be angry, be pissed off about what happened in the Cincinnati game, and just roll over Virginia Tech and run them out of their own stadium. I would love to see that. But I have a lot of doubt that will happen.
Yeah. like I said, they got to show me something before I start projecting blowouts. Hell, I was almost afraid to even say 30 points.
I mean, Notre Dame's averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah, that's true.
So I
That's
mean,
true.
it's spot on if you want to go statistic wise.
That makes a lot of sense.
Below it, I went offensive production wise hasn't been there, so I went below 30 points a game. I'm going 24.
Yeah, I honestly I'm expecting a heart attack kind of game. So
anyway,
guys, that's all we've got for you. We're pissed off at what's been going on, but we're not going to quit on this team like some people in our fan base seem to be doing. We keep the positivity, at least do the best that we can, but we tell the truth too. And I think we prove that.
Yeah.
So on that note, everyone, I'm ND Sean 45, or I'm sorry, I'm ND Sean. We're trying to drop the numbers it's Ben's idea. For whatever reason, he wanted to drop the numbers. So let's start that over. I'm ND Sean.
I am Irish Benjamin.
And as we always say, God bless, good night, and go Irish, baby.
Go Irish. Beat Virginia Tech.